Back to the Team Rocket Pwn in action. Hey everybody, I'm DeoGenZ. Welcome to my Crystal walkthrough. In the last episode, we were discussing some heady topics about life as a game. Not in a metaphorical sense, in the literal sense that this could all just be a programmed simulation. And we were saying, what if you have a shitty roll of the die? Whoop, but hold on. Hold it! You can't talk about that yet. I saw you, so I tailed you. I don't need you underfoot while I take care of Team Rocket. Wait a second. You beat me before, didn't you? That was just a fluke. But I repay my debts. Seems to me that you're quite confident. You don't scare me. Let's get to the point. Yeah! Alright, so your rival comes back with a vengeance, and pardon the more discussing part of this episode, we'll keep that until after the rival battle, because this is a walkthrough after all, and I want to give you some helpful tips for battling. Your rival is pretty fierce by this point, and hopefully you've got a good team by your side. His Zubat is now Golbat. I don't know if it was Golbat before, but I don't think Eevee is going to have enough power by itself to take out Golbat. And remember, I'm trying to evolve it through friendship, so let's switch it out to Raichu. Do it, Chew! Chew! The power of thunder. Not very effective. So, that electrode that I recommended back at Mahogany Town would be very helpful for you here, and doubly as helpful if you chose Cyndaquil like I did, because that means... Oh no, the confuse ray! Because that means your rival chose Totodile as its starter, as his starter, it. Well, you know what? He deserves to be called it for stealing that Pokemon in the first place, but, I don't know, maybe they've grown to like him. Maybe he felt that, man, I wish I had a Pokemon, and who knows? It's really hard to tell. You can't read the friendship level of your rival's Pokemon. So now that we've got the upper switching advantage and we know what he's going to send out, let's just super effectively sweep this guy. But the Electrode will do doubly as good if you have Cyndaquil as your starter. Flame Wheel! Oh yes, and Quilava is close to evolution. I think by this battle, he will be Typhlosion. Okay, a little bit more. That's all it takes. But I don't want him to be doused out, otherwise he won't evolve. That's something key that I'm not sure every new Pokemon player knows. If you gain a level, but end up dying within the battle, or fainting, as it's so gently called, you won't actually evolve. Oh wow, that's a beefy Feraligatr. Oof. But it's not very effective. If that was my Feraligatr, I would have given it, by now, Surf, and, well, at 32 it doesn't have Hydro Pump, does it? But it definitely would have Surf, and beautiful Confusion to the rescue. We might just keep Sweet Kiss for Raichu, because, you know what? Confusion is a really good status. I really never used to confuse my opponents back in the old days, but back in the old days, I was a noob. So, let's use a little bit more strategy here, don't you think? Come on, hurt yourself, hurt yourself. Ah, damn it. Well, irrelevant. Your damage is not doing much. I'm 2 levels higher, and I have a super effective advantage. Still, my hands go to you for raising a bulky Feraligatr. And we gain another level. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Haunter. Yes, indeed. We've got a perfect Pokemon for that. One that isn't even affected. Oh, I was thinking about switching to Eevee, but you know what? Charbok has not seen battle in a while, and I don't want it to fall behind in levels. I just realized I was going to switch there, but to Eevee. Oh good, kill yourself. I love the suicide tactics of the opponents. Easy win. Thanks for helping me. Yeah, but I don't want Charbok to fall behind in level gaining either, just because I want to evolve. Eevee's going to have plenty of time to travel with us. And now, Sneasel. Something cool about Sneasel that I didn't know back in the day is that it's not only a dark type, but it's also ice type too. Which means Flame Wheel super effective. Man, I love the super effective sound. It's so satisfying. I wish I could turn around and that sound pop up. Like kind of do the epic golfer stare if you've ever seen that epic groundhog. I don't even know if that's the correct meme title, but when he turns and gives you epic face, dun 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 dun. I wish that noise, the super effective noise, would play every time I give you a look. Aw yeah, evolution. Yeah, don't worry guys, I'm not keeping Quilava in its second stage form for long. We're moving on to Typhlosion. Assembling the toughest Pokemon is not all there is to battling. Your team lacks balance, and you fight like a drunken fool. My buddy Typhlosion is back! Oh, it's been too long, my friend. I love Typhlosion. It is up there with top 3 of my favorites. It got pushed down to 3rd because of Deoxys, but it goes for me Deoxys, Gengar, Typhlosion. My absolute favorites. Yeah, you don't treat Pokemon right. That's what I'm talking about. You fight like someone who came out of a brothel and is looking to pick a fight even though you can barely stand on your own. What did you call that move with your Haunter? Sacrifice? For what? Putting a curse on my Pokemon that I could just switch out and cancel out? Poor strategy, my friend. Poor strategy. And battling is all about strategy. Listen to Miyamoto Musashi. He will tell you the way of the sword, and through the way of the sword, ponder it, and you will find the way of life. Yeah, the Book of Five Rings. Great book. I'm analyzing it now. Been analyzing it for a while, actually. And it's 5 separate books. It's Fire Book, the Wind Book, the Water Book, the Ground Book, and the Void Book. And it talks about Miyamoto Musashi, it is his book where he talks about his journeys as a Ronin, and he basically lays it out on the line, his philosophies for life, and how you can be successful at everything by learning the way of strategy. He describes learning the way of strategy through what he knows, the way of the sword. But the way of strategy can be translated into anyone's life and into anyone's activities. Whether it's Pokemon battles, doing something in school well, doing an occupation correctly, and getting promoted, you can learn the way of the samurai without having to wield a blade. But it takes a lot of great ponderance because when it was written, it was written in traditional Japanese time. You can find translated versions where there will be footnotes of what each thing means, what he's referring to, but to get the true message, you really have to reread it and kind of take it all in to comprehend. But speaking of taking it all in and comprehending, if you comprehended what I was talking about in the last episode, let's continue onwards with that philosophical discussion. It's funny, I like to have philosophical game philosophies, and I used to do those videos, except now I have a podcast. And I want people to listen to the podcast. Unfortunately, I haven't recorded one in so long, but that has to do with me not having any viable Wi-Fi. So when I do get back on that, that's where I'll have most of these discussions, because realizing that 20 minutes is not enough for me to describe what I believe the universe to be, in that it's a simulation, it clearly shows me that I need at least an hour to lay it all out on the line, and especially have guests, because I totally want to have people to talk to. I don't want to just have a one-sided discussion. You know, I get tired of my voice easily. You may not believe this, but whenever it comes to re-listening to my voice, I find it unlistenable. It's just something strange. I really don't like my voice. Apparently others do because you guys are here. But that's irrelevant. What we were talking about in the last episode is looking at life as a game, as a simulation, literally. And what happens when you get a shitty roll of the die? What happens when you land up? Yeah, what happens when you land up in the clouds and you fall and you die automatically from the impact? No. But what happens when you live in a poverty-stricken place, or even here in America, and you just have a shitty outcome? You know, your parents, they don't actually love each other, you're maybe an accident, and, you know, shit, it happens. Not everybody plans to be sticking their dick in and having a baby. Most people don't. That's not the intention, but when it happens, yeah, it's up to the person before the kid comes out if he is going to have a good life or not. At least for, you know, the beginning stages. But what's so wonderful about how this whole life works and the fact that you only have one shot, it's not like you have 99 lives in Mario because you got so many 1-up mushrooms and you've collected so many 100 coins. It doesn't matter how much money you get. It doesn't matter how many psychedelic mushrooms you take. Well, I think taking a lot of psychedelic mushrooms will probably help you get you in touch with the idea that this is all just a simulation, stop taking it so seriously. But it's not going to give you a 1-up, it's not going to give you extra life, but it might make your life a little bit more enjoyable. But that's a completely different topic. You know, the great thing about it is you only have one life. Everybody thinks it's a bittersweet thing, and that, oh, you know, it's such a drag that at the end it's death, but it's not. That's really your chance to be recycled. It's not being recycled by a black hole, but being recycled by the closer system, the Earth system, and then having your molecules reused for whatever purpose. My grandmother recently passed away, and I was perfectly fine with it. I mean, yes, I miss her, but I'm accepting of it, and I know that her molecules are recycled. Good for her. At her stage in life, it was getting tedious. It was getting not enjoyable anymore to live. It was just that flesh avatar, it was wearing out. And when that happens, life has a way of taking you back into its clutches and recycling yourself. And now, you're not explicitly going to become a human again. I'm not saying or suggesting that this is a reincarnating system in which you directly turn into another human, another animal, or even a plant. More likely, you'd become a plant first, then devoured by humans or animals, and then recycled further as energy, but that's the thing. This is all just one system of energy. Where that system closes off, we're not entirely sure. But what we do know is that law of conservation of mass states this: no new energy can be created, no new energy can be destroyed. Or no energy can be destroyed, sorry. And what that means is that everything in this system is completely the same. It's the same atoms that have been circulating for centuries, for millennium, before the Earth had even been formed. We used to be Paleolithic creatures that evolved, literally evolved, and also were recycled. We also went probably in the way of prey for most of those Paleolithic beasts. Some of us survived, and then others of us were recycled further into what we are now. But it's all a recycling of energy. I mean, think of it this way. A mother cannot have a child malnourished. I mean, it can't happen. The fetus would die from no nutrition, and there would be no new child. That is a direct recycling of energy. Now, was that lettuce or whatever food the mother was eating? Was that a person, an animal, a rock, a dinosaur? Who knows? But the possibilities are endless, and that's great. Because while you're here, enjoy it. Enjoy it to the fullest. But don't fret that it ends. Be happy and not eager to die. I don't want to suggest being emo and always suicidal like I'm ready to recycle, but make the most of your avatar situation. Make the most of this simulation, because this one instance only happens now, and it never will happen again. So make the most of it, and don't fear the end, because it's just a ride, as Bill Hicks once said, and you have the choice to get off. And in my view of reality, it's just a game. It's my theory that's backed up by some, couch, armchair scientist work there, just looking at other scientists' data and then pulling my own hypotheses from it. But that's how science is done. Questioning other scientists and making your own hypotheses about it. Now, back onto the crystal action here. I really messed up this entire puzzle. The way that this switch system was supposed to work is that you go to the far left, you activate that by pressing A near it. Then you go to the middle one, and then you go to the one on the right, all the way on the right. I, however, was very confused while I was recording this, and that's why I am speeding this little section up, because it was way too long of me just fuddling around with these switches, not remembering what was the damn order. I don't know why I couldn't think of 3, 2, 1, which is essentially what it is, but it eluded me greatly. So, enjoy this little fast, brisk runabout, because it's 3, 2, 1, left, middle, right, and that will get you to directly where you need to go. I don't even say you need to fight the burglars. You can mess around, keep messing around with the switch systems to get the item that's in here, but the burglars don't really offer that much. A little bit extra EXP. Look, I ended up battling them anyway, both. So you could see which Pokemon they have. The other guy Growlithe, this guy Coughing. Really basic stuff. They're pretty much no better than a basic Team Rocket grunt. Oh, well, I was wrong. Team Rocket certainly does not have a Magmar, but it's easily taken out. And Coughing. Alright, so this guy's more like a fire starter. Kind of like the fire breather Will that we faced eons ago. Are you lost? No, can't be. You don't have that scared look. I'll give you something to be scared about. Alright, Slowpoke Tailhead. I really will never envision that as your hair, but that's fine. I still see those confusion birds, those confusion chicks, and not fantasize, but it sounds like a weird thing, but I still imagine them to be dopey faces circling around your Pokemon's head. Ah, look at Typhlosion! Ah, it makes me so happy. You gotta understand, guys, I've played Crystal so much. All my life, I tell you. It's just like, if I don't have a file in Crystal going somewhere, I'm not living. But this is like my not final, but one of my love letters, I would say, to the game itself. That's what I really like to do with Let's Plays, and that's why I really try to strive for the greatest quality I can. Not just in recording, but in commentary, in peripheral kind of experience, the borders. Although I did admittedly drop the ball on that with Crystal, I can promise you that my next Pokemon walkthrough, which will be in 2012, not telling you what month it's happening in, but it is Emerald. Bam. I mentioned it on Twitter before, which you can follow me at DeoGenZ. Very simple. But I mentioned it on Twitter before, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything here. But yeah, I did drop the ball on the borders, and I do deeply apologize because I didn't want to do that. Crystal's my favorite game, and I really wanted to make an ultimate guide. I suck, but it's just a timing issue. And now that at least I can deliver you guys longer length videos because my time limit is expunged, I feel as though it doesn't really make a difference because at least I'm giving you more content to watch in an episode, and they're coming out more frequently, which I can tell you verbally what you need to find out. Plus, in essence, you're not missing anything because as a solution, as a medium ground, what I do now is before an episode, if we travel on a route with wild Pokemon, if we go in a building with wild Pokemon for that matter, like we did back in Mahogany Town and Rocket's Hideout, I'll put a little segment in 5 seconds, so you can just briefly look it over, of what Pokemon you'll find there. And I also noticed that not only was it hard for me to get together on a consistent basis because my computer's program that I was making those borders on always failed, although I must say, now that I am not connected to the internet, and also that my hard drive was replaced, it runs a lot swifter. But still, it was very difficult for people to read. I know that if you were watching it on a smartphone, which I've looked at my videos before just to see how the quality looked, you could see the video feed, but you cannot tell for shit what the borders are saying. And even sometimes on a regular computer, you couldn't tell. Which is why I still do the gym borders, but those are enhanced so you can see everything. And the background is the background. But hopefully you've forgiven me for that. I still, you know, you're always your worst critic, I say. And that's really, it's the truth. You know, I was taking writing courses this past semester, creative writing class, and we did a lot of revisions, which, you know, really highly improved my writing, I must say. That was one of the most beneficial things you could do as someone who's looking to write something meaningful and looking to come up with new ideas. Just the process of writing down things. I write for 20 minutes a day, every day. I don't revise that, of course, because it's just me expelling my thoughts, whatever it is on the day, whatever idea I come up with. But that helps me solidify what I think, because it's not just concepts that are floating around in my head being meshed around with other things that I've heard from other people or watched from other things, which I really rarely watch anything these days. It's either I read it or I watch it on YouTube, if anything. But I don't ever watch TV. I've not seen TV in over 5 years. That's how off the grid I try to be. But it's really just for liberation of my mind, so I can think more clearly. I wasted so much time when I used to watch TV just zoning out, and nothing was getting accomplished. No new ideas were really coming to me. I was just being assaulted with everyone else's ideas and endless advertising, which was really the most destructive force. The propaganda was putrid. But doing these revisions in my creative writing class, it really made me such a better writer, because you think when you're done with an essay, especially when you're doing an essay for school, and you just want to get done. You don't really care about the quality, you just want to get it done. You're trying to fill a container, whether it's 5 paragraphs, 4 pages, whatever the hell it is, and you just want it done. But with revision, you read it over yourself, and you realize how idiotic a lot of your thoughts were, or how much better they could be produced and kind of modified to become that true thing you were trying to say. Because often in your head it sounds good while you're writing it, but when you go back over it to see what you actually wrote, it's a different story, and it needs some tweaking. A lot of tweaking. But by doing this as a common practice and learning how to revise your own work and not depend on others, it's very beneficial. But people in my writing class would say that my papers were perfect, my papers didn't need anything changed. I just did an argument piece like a couple weeks ago, and they said there's no counter arguments, but I already knew there was counter arguments that I had missed, and I was going to definitely revise that and put in something to make sure I addressed that, but my peers didn't pick up on it. For whatever reason, maybe they didn't pay attention to the essay as much, maybe they didn't care, or maybe they just normally don't read something from another student that sounds so intriguing. I don't want to like pat myself on the back because that's a stupid ego boost, but these are just possibilities. But the point is, you're your own worst critic because you know yourself. You know yourself, you know your idea is the best. The only one who can get inside your head is you, truly. And that's why you can only make the best of what you do. Whether it's writing, video creation, whatever it is. And even though I can't revise videos, every video I come out with, I try to increase the quality. Now, there are exceptions like Mad World, where that was recorded in August in full, and that was recorded when I didn't have my microphone, so, you know, the sound quality is and there was some cuts, there was some black space on the video that I don't know why it was there. I don't really know, I'm not sure, but it just is. And I'm not going back to edit it because it would be ridiculous to waste all that hard drive space on something that, quite frankly, not many people are watching, which is fine. You know, not everybody's into the blood, gore, and guts, but it is here for anybody who is. Just like my Pokemon LPs are here for anybody who's interested. It's all what you're interested in. Just trying to entertain. But I do revise videos in the way that guy had all coughings, by the way. In the way that I try to learn something from every video, and I try to improve upon it each time. Even if I don't watch the whole thing, I know what I did wrong and what I could fix. Who? What? You? You came to rescue me? Thank you! The radio tower! What's happening there? Taken over by Team Rocket? Here, take this card key. Well, at least it's the real director. Imagine if they pulled a double shenanigans on us, and it was just another Team Rocket member who said, guess what? The director's dead. You'll never find him because we killed him. That would be far too violent for a Pokemon game, but it would be very efficient. So, now with this card key, that enables us to go back into the radio tower and access some areas that were off limits to us before. So let's head back there now. The director's not even interested in following us out because we need to take care of Team Rocket. If they see him following me, I don't know what they'd do because, really, I defeated all those guys. What could they do? I could just sick my Typhlosion out on them, kind of like Lance did with his powerful Dragonite, and they'd back the fuck up, I would think. I wouldn't want to get a face full of flames from a frustrated Typhlosion just trying to save the day. Anyway, we will continue saving the day in the next episode.